Hi, this is Fran with Stampendous, and this is countdown number 13. Do you still draw like a second grader? Why is that? Now, I've never given much credit to the theory that you were born with creative talent. My theory is that it's more about your interest in art and how much you work at it. Some do seem to have been born with more talent than others, but I'd say it's how you draw as an adult is more likely at whatever level you stopped trying somewhere along the way in your earlier life. For example, if you draw like a second grader, you probably got discouraged with the result of your art back then compared to what someone else was doing. But that doesn't have to be the end of your creative story. Grandma Moses is an interesting example of my theory. She had an interest in art from an early age. She was self-taught and practiced at it all her life. She never sold a painting until the age of 78, but today we all pretty much know her name and her unusual, unique American folk art style. The good news is that today, if you are interested, you can move forward as an artist. I can offer a lot of encouragement and a bit of direction from week to week in these videos so that you can practice and discover your hidden talents. Planning this new video series has taken me back to my own experiences in art. Some of my earliest memories were of doodling and drawing a rose with little scallop petals. My mom suggested drawing it this way, and it kept me busy for quite a while. It looked more like a mum than a rose by the time I filled the paper. In first grade, we were to draw a picture of fall. But the only seasons I was familiar with were either the wet season or dry season. But my teacher explained how the leaves turned all different colors. I remember I was the last to finish my coloring, and I used every color crayon I had. I thought the purple leaves were just lovely. When I was in high school, I remember a classmate named Steve Barr who did wonderful cartoons even then. And I didn't think I was born with that special talent, but since then I have learned to do some cartooning as well. We had a reunion coming up and I looked for him online, and I was delighted to find that he not only is a career cartoonist, but he is now helping bring smiles to hurting kids in hospitals with an amazing art program called Drawn to Help. There are lots of ways you might get involved, so check it out at Drawn to Help. My interest in art was always there, but I didn't get a whole lot of art classes until I was in college as an art major. I remember that often the picture I had in my head was much better than what happened on paper. You've heard of writer's block? Well, have you ever imagined artist block, as in this Far Side cartoon? Now, I was in a fine art program, but whatever I did turned out cute. Even in ceramics, I had fat little birds running around my hand-built ceramic slab pot. I always enjoyed painting flowers, and that was the theme of my senior art show. My flower paintings were done in watercolor to start with, but then I'd finish them with color pencils because I would just get frustrated with the detail I was trying to achieve with the brush. If you look closely, you can see I did some resist here with what looks like a white crayon on the leaves. And here I did some salt techniques to get the look of rust. My interest in using my art to illustrate children's books might have been a really good fit for me. I moved recently and I found this stash of illustrations. Now, I never got much further on the book ideas because I wasn't sure I could do it. And then my interest shifted more to greeting cards. So during my college years, I worked in the campus bookstore, and I was the student buyer for the cards, music, gifts, and art supplies, all the fun stuff. And I'd see all these greeting cards and I'd think, I could do that. In fact, my flower paintings were printed for these note cards, and I just came across these illustrations of my very first card ideas. In fact, the first stamps I made were of these little lamb characters. The stamps made it easier to paint the backgrounds instead of using these overlays. In the end, I sold only a couple of cards to Dayspring, and the first package got lost, and the claim I made with UPS was more than I got paid for the artwork. So I've ended up selling stamps and showing people how to make their own greeting cards. And that's how Stampendous got started. So if you're interested enough to move on from second grade or wherever you left off, small, quick watercolor cards might just be the easiest way for you to practice and see what more you can do. We might even discover another Grandma Moses. So if you'll subscribe and make a comment on which of these flower cards are your favorite, you will be entered to win a set of these printed Earthy Endeavors note cards. And next week, if you could paint anything, what would it be? Flowers? Landscapes? Portraits? What about cows?